grade math. I'm so glad that you could be with us today. Today we're going to be looking at percents. Specifically, we're going to be looking at receipts and dealing with taxes. In preparing for this lesson, I have been collecting receipts when I went out to eat, drive-through, or on a grocery run. So we're going to go over a couple of things about percents before we get started. Hopefully, after this, you will ask your parents for some of their receipts so you can do the same thing that I did. Check your tax rates. And if you have any questions, Google them. Research them. So first, we have a percent going to a decimal. Remember, a percent is always out of 100. So we would take our percent and we could divide it by 100. So if we had 8.7% divided by 100. Any percent is always out of 100. Oh, you can't see that. There we go. You get 0.087, which is the same thing as moving that decimal 2 places to the left. So a little trick that we use is moving the decimal 2 places to the left rather than dividing each one by 100. Now, if we want to go in the opposite direction and do a decimal divided by the percent, we take our decimal, 0.087, and we multiply it by 100. And that brings us back to 8.7, and then we put our percent sign behind it, which is the same thing as moving our decimal 2 places to the right. So moving the decimal 2 places to the left for percent to decimal is our trick, and 2 places to the right when we're going from a decimal to a percent is our trick. So a couple of things that I researched. Louisiana state tax rate is 4.45%. So anywhere in Louisiana, they have a tax rate of 4.45%. In our local tax, specifically in Slidell, is 4.25%. So we pay a total of 8.7% of any items that we are purchasing. On your receipt, after you see all of the items listed, you will see a subtotal. And in order to find the subtotal, all they did was add the item prices. In order to find the tax, which is what you will probably see on your next line, is they multiplied the tax rate, which in our case would be 8.7%, times our subtotal. However, not everything has that 8.7% tax rate, and not all of our receipts tell us what the tax rate is. So we are also going to be looking at what is the tax rate. And in order to find our tax rate, we divide the tax divided by the subtotal. To get the total, we add our subtotal plus our tax. Remember, a tax rate is a percent. So once we divide, we would have to move the decimal 2 places to the right. Okay, so first we're going to look at a Taco Bell receipt. We have $3.89 plus $3.59 plus $1.99, which gives us that subtotal of $9.47. They don't give us the tax rate, so we're going to take our tax and divide it by our subtotal. it gives us a decimal. We need to move that decimal 2 places to the right or multiply it by 100. The 5 would round the 6 up, so it does give us that 8.7% that we talked about earlier. When we add our subtotal plus our tax, we get the $10.29 total. Okay, let's look at another receipt. This time we're not going to add and check our subtotal. We're going to assume that it is correct. And they are giving us that tax rate. They said they are using 8.7%. We're going to check and make sure. So we're going to take that tax, $5.14, divided by the subtotal, $59.05. And we are getting that 8.7%. We can multiply it by 100 to move the decimal 2 places to the right. And we see that 8.7%. Also, let's check. So we just divided the tax by the subtotal. Now we're going to multiply our subtotal times the 8.7%. And we get $5, and the 7 rounds to 3 up to a 4. So that is where they're getting that $5.14 tax. On this Walmart receipt, it's a little bit different. If you notice, they have tax 1 and tax 2. So in doing my research, I found that on food items specifically, they give you a different tax rate. So the 5.25%, our local tax, is on the food items. The 8.7% is on other items. And they showed the other items with the X's. So these two are both using the 8.7%. The rest of them are based on the 4.25%. So we actually can't use the subtotal here. We would have to add the 2 with the X's, so $12.97 plus $12.36, and that gives us $25.33. That is where they're using that 8.7%. So if we multiply those two numbers together, 8.7% times the $25.33, we do get the $2.20. So that is where they came up with that number from. Let's look at a Walgreens receipt. They tell us the tax rate is 8.7%. For practice, let's just test $3.36 divided by $38.65. And we are getting that 8.7% again. On this other Walgreens receipt, we notice that it says 9.2%. And it is indeed 9.2%. So let's look at the difference. Why was this one a different tax rate? And it's because it's from Mandeville. So their local tax in Mandeville is 4.75%. So they have a higher tax rate. And so together they give a total of 9.2%. Okay, I had 2 Rouse's receipts. And when we found the percent, so we took their sales tax and we divided it by the subtotal. On this one, I had 4.2%. And on this one, I got 5.4%. Unfortunately, I was not able to find exactly why they had different tax rates. When I looked it up, maybe you have a family or a friend who works at Rouse's and they could give us some answers. The differences that I saw was this one was based on food items. This one had some other items. This one also I paid cash, and this one I paid with a credit card. So I thought that that could be a difference because they have a charge. Anytime somebody swipes their card, there is an extra little charge that the company is given. So maybe they applied that into their taxes. But unfortunately, I was not able to find the answer to that question. The last thing that we are going to look at is when you order out. So we went to Koi's and the total due was $37.50. Our tax was $3. So let's just check to make sure that they have a 8.7%. So $3 divided by $37.50. Did I do that right? Oh, nope. I didn't do it by the food. So let's try again. $3 divided by $34.50. That's what I should have been dividing by. That is the benefit of being able to look at these receipts, is if you don't come up with the number, you can figure out why. And so there is your 8.7%. So you are using 8.7%. I was getting food with my roommate, so we split it. So then we have our gratuity. I always give a 20% gratuity. So 20%, 0.2 times 18.75 equals $3.75. I would round that up to $4. Or even more than that. So then we write our gratuity. We add that together. And then we sign. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you get your own receipts and you try this on your own.